All right, welcome. Today, we're diving into the world of modern software. And let's be honest, it can feel like a ridiculously complex maze sometimes. So we're going to look at a tool that's designed to give you the map for that maze, New Relic. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been working on a system, maybe one you've even helped build, and you just feel lost? You know, where trying to find the root cause of an issue feels like searching for a needle in a haystack of haystacks. Yeah, that feeling is super common for pretty much any developer or operations team out there today.
And there's a really good reason for it. We're calling it the modern software maze. See the old, simple applications of the past? They're gone. They've been totally replaced by these sprawling, distributed systems. And the old ways of just checking on performance, they can't keep up. Not even close.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this maze is built from some pretty specific stuff. We've taken our big, clunky applications and broken them up into tons of tiny microservices. We're running those in containers with tools like Kubernetes. We're using serverless functions that pop in and out of existence. And we're doing it all across multiple cloud providers. All of a sudden, your app doesn't live in one neat little box anymore. It is literally everywhere at once. Now, that's incredibly powerful, but boy, is it easy to get lost in.
So, if you're stuck wandering around in this maze, what's the one thing you desperately need? You need a map, right? A way to see the entire landscape from a bird's-eye view. And that's exactly where New Relic comes into the picture.
So what is it really? Well, the official definition is that it's a cloud-based observability platform. Basically, its entire reason for existing is to help you watch, understand, and improve how your software and all the servers it runs on are performing, and to do it all live in real time. Now, what's really interesting about this is how it tackles that whole maze problem head-on. It gives you a single, unified map for your entire software system. So instead of juggling a dozen different tools for a dozen different parts of your stack, the whole idea behind New Relic is to bring everything into one single view, to give you that clear path through all the complexity. And you know, they've been at this for a while. New Relic actually started way back in 2008, purely as what's called an APM tool, Application Performance Monitoring. It was fantastic for finding slow bits of code in those simpler, older apps. But as that software maze got bigger and crazier, they had to evolve too. They transformed into a full-blown telemetry data platform, one that's built to observe, well, everything. Now, to build a map that's actually useful, you need to collect the right kinds of data. In this world of observability, it all boils down to three core pillars. And these three pillars really are the foundation of New Relic's entire toolkit.
So pillar number one is metrics. These are the numbers, your CPU usage, your response times, your error rates. Just think of these as the big, high-level alerts on your map. They're the things that tell you that something is wrong, kind of like a traffic jam ahead warning.
Okay, next up, we've got logs. These are the super detailed, line-by-line event records. So if the metrics tell you that there's a problem, the logs are like the field notes that tell you why it's happening. They give you all the juicy context behind the numbers.
And the third pillar is traces. And this is where that whole map metaphor really shines. A trace follows one single user request through its entire journey, across that whole complicated maze of microservices. It shows you precisely where the slowdown happened or where the error popped up. It's like dropping a pin on a GPS and seeing the exact route it took.
So by combining those three pillars, New Relic gives you this incredible toolkit. You can still do the classic stuff like use its APM to pinpoint the exact line of slow code. But you can also see the health of all your servers, understand what your mobile users are actually experiencing, and, this is huge, see the logs right there next to the traces and metrics. It's all about getting rid of that frantic hunt, that jumping between 5 different tools just to solve one problem.
Okay, so we have the data, the metrics, logs, and traces. But how does New Relic actually draw the map? Let's take a quick look at how the platform pulls all of this information together in real time. It's really a pretty straightforward 3-step process. First, these little bits of software called agents sit inside your applications and servers, and they collect all that data we just talked about. Second, all of that data gets sent securely up to New Relic's massive cloud platform to be processed. And finally, step 3, it all gets visualized for you on the New Relic One dashboard. That dashboard becomes your interactive, live map of the maze. And get this map is completely searchable. There's this thing called NRQL, the new Relic Query Language, and it's basically a search engine for your entire system's data. You can ask incredibly specific questions like, show me all the errors for users in Germany on an iPhone. It lets you build your own custom views and find the exact answers you need fast. Now, this all sounds pretty cool in theory, right? But why does having a map like this actually matter in the real world? Let's look at the actual impact this has and who's really using this to find their way through their own software mazes.
And the answer is, well, pretty much every industry you can think of. Imagine an e-commerce site on Black Friday. They're using this to make sure the checkout process doesn't fall over. Or a bank, making sure your mobile check deposit goes through without a hitch. Media companies use it to stop your video stream from buffering right at the good part. Any industry that relies on complex software needs this kind of visibility just to keep the lights on.
Of course, New Relic isn't the only map maker out there. But when you put it next to the competition, a couple of things really stand out. First, New Relic has gone all in on something called open telemetry. It's an open standard, which is a huge deal because it means you're not locked into their specific tools to get your data. It gives you a ton of flexibility. And second, their pricing is based on how much data you send them, which is often way more predictable than paying for every single server you have, especially when things scale up and down like crazy in the cloud.
So, the crucial point is this. New Relic's big advantage is its laser focus on being that single, unified, and open platform. It's about bringing all your data together in one place, connecting with more than 500 other tools, using AI to spot problems for you, and wrapping it all in a clean interface with flexible pricing. It's the whole package.
And that really brings us full circle, back to that first question. As our systems get more and more complex, we all have a choice. We can let our software become a black box where every problem is a total mystery, or we can find a way to get the map. So the question you should be asking yourself is, which one do you have?